Our next candidate is Brian Skinner. Mr. Skinner, you will have 1 minute for your opening statement. Robin down here in front will have some cards, few cards, and she'll ring the bell when your time is up.
My name is Brian Skinner. I am offering to serve as your next sheriff, if that be your will. I am a 25-year veteran of the Beaumont Police Department, and 10 of those years I've been a commander in every division of the Beaumont Police Department. That's field ops, criminal investigations, as well as administration. I've earned a master's degree from Houston State in criminal justice management, and I've actually had a career where I've done the job, and now, as a commander, I get the job done through other people. My family's lived here 14 years in Hardin County. I'm the father of 2 daughters, twins, and they're in school, college in Nashville.
Okay. Your first question. Please describe your management style and give us an example of how you have managed people.
All right. I like to say I'm a participatory manager for the most part. I believe in developing relationships so that I'm a leader not just in title, but because people follow me because they want to, not because they're obligated to. And that involves getting to know people and having the people that work for you understand that you remember what it's like when you did the job. And so, as far as specific instances, that's every day. I mean, I've been a commander for 10 years, and prior to that, I was a sergeant. And so I have worked in several capacities in that, whether it be detective division, narcotics and vice patrol, all of them, including internal affairs. But my style is very laid back when possible, and it is built on the relationships of the people who work with me. So participatory management would probably be the right word or title for that.
And again, I feel like you'll have 1.5 minutes for each of your answers. I've got to stick with that.
My bad. Should I do a song and dance now? I got 30 seconds, okay. I really do value the relationships with people. That's the key you need to know. And I bring that into every capacity of the job I do, by networking with other people in the business. So even if I'm not managing them particularly on a peer level or another agency or anything of that nature. So it's very good, it's very critical as your next sheriff. Those are skills I really excel in, and you can feel very comfortable that I will represent you well in that way, and I apply that style to the citizens as well. Just for
Okay. Your second question. The Supreme Court decision of Brady versus Maryland, sometimes called the Brady Law, ruled that withholding evidence violates a person's rights of due process. How do you incorporate this in your professional ethics?
Wow, that's a case law, I believe, from the 60s, but it's come into play in recent years because the exculpatory nature of that has been applied to police officers and the distrust that some folks have toward certain officers in the field. So in essence, it means that if you have an integrity problem in your past, something honesty related in particular, that is obligatory for the agency to release that to the defense, which, so if you had a shady officer out there, they essentially can't do the job. And it's supposed to basically encourage people to either terminate their employment because you're just a paycheck. They can't actually testify to anything because you have to give up that information to the defense, and then therefore they will not be convicted, most likely because you can't be trusted to take an oath or write an affidavit. So as far as how I would incorporate that, I would follow the law, and that would mean, as sheriff, I would have that obligation, that burden would be on my shoulders to make sure that my deputies are doing the proper thing, and then if I had personal information as to the fact that they have failed in their integrity, they probably would not have employment because of that reason, because there's no point in having a paycheck. That's your money, that's your tax dollars, paying someone on the job that can't actually do the job. They can't testify. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. And you get the bonus point. It was in the 60s. I looked it up today.
All right, there you go. Y'all do that.
Okay, the next question. Have you ever had to make that had personal consequences? And have you ever had any ethics violations that would jeopardize your credibility as Hardin County Sheriff? Two-part.
Okay, I'm going to answer the second part first because that's quick. No, I have not. I do not have any dirty laundry that you're going to discover ethics-wise. You'll be very pleased with the career that I've led. And so no, the first part of that, I have a lot of those examples, so I'll try to think of something entertaining. Since this is a political forum, let me tell you about my political. When I was president of the Beaumont Police Officers Association back in the day, I had 2 terms of that. That's, just so you know, an elected position by 250 sworn officers. I'm the leader of that organization. And Jack Brooks was running for office again. He could never be beaten. And he had made some stances that we did not like about our military and law enforcement in general. And I was the only president who represented an association in the state of Texas who went up against him. I was called by people all over the state telling me, you just shot yourself in the foot, you'll never have a career, you're over, nobody can beat Jack Brooks, it's done. And I said, oh yeah? Well, watch this. We're not only not endorsing him, we're going to endorse this nobody, Stockman. You could hear a pin drop. That man won that race. Jack Brooks was out of office, and I stood alone in the state of Texas. Not a single association or union did what I did. And so that entire campaign, I was getting all kinds of threats and pressure to change my position. But I represented those 250 officers, and we were conservative, and we didn't appreciate what he had said and his stances, his liberal stances. So that's a good example, politically speaking, but I have lots of those.
That is a good example. All right. Next question. What specifically do you believe needs to change about the way the Sheriff's Department operates, and that might include technology, and also briefly discuss the important relationship between the Sheriff's Office and the DA's office?
Okay, there's a mouthful there. I really try to be objective, so I don't want to demonize people when I'm from the outside in, but obviously in a campaign, you hear a lot of stories, people talk to me about issues, and they use phrases that I don't like to use in my campaign, but I will use today because it's something I'm familiar with called billboard. That's something people talk about a lot. And I think the first step is my presence in that office will break that, because I don't have any political connections there now. So that would be the first step of giving you confidence and knowing that you have an independent sheriff in the office who's going to make decisions based on integrity and not any kind of other relationship, because I simply don't have those relationships. I don't have anything to rely on. I can only rely on my integrity. And I think that step by step will turn that office around and replenish your trust and your faith in what we're doing there in that office.
Sheriff's Office and the DA's office.
Sheriff's Office and the DA's office is, of course, critical. That is where the rubber meets the road. That's where we deliver those cases to the DA, and we expect the DA to prosecute those cases. We put a lot of work in. I'm speaking from Beaumont PD, but it'd be no different here in the Sheriff's Department, is that we do all the investigating, we do all the work, and our heart's in it, hopefully, at least under my supervision it will be. And we're going to try to do our best by you and bring about justice. And so when we pass the baton to the DA, we're expecting that to be done, prosecuted to the fullest of their capability. So that relationship and communicating and letting know our needs is important.
Okay. Do you plan to add administrative positions, whether allowable by this budget or a future budget? And would you be willing to utilize more civilian employees, if allowable by the budget, in order to keep officers on the street and in the community more?
Yes, I think that's an excellent idea. We've incorporated that in Beaumont PD quite successfully. We've been able to incorporate civilians and for what we call, say, telecert, for instance. If it's a case that just needs to be reported, sometimes for insurance purposes, sometimes there's minimal investigation to be done, but it needs to be on record. Maybe there's no follow-up, no suspects or nothing. We can actually call in to a civilian who can take that report over the phone at your convenience. It doesn't have to involve a police officer. Administrative-wise, if there are any areas of that nature where we could plug in a civilian at a greater savings to you as a taxpayer, I would be a big fan of that. And we've done that quite a bit across the board in Beaumont in various creative ways. We use people, little civilians go write parking tickets. They do all kinds of things for us that occupy a deputy or a police officer's time that will be minimal. So, in short, I don't see my 30 seconds there. I think that is a very wise way to manage, is that if you can take the duties of the deputy and keep them in the major law enforcement function, which is keeping you safe and your property safe, and take the other busy work and other things that don't require their presence at the time and pass that on to someone else administratively at a lower cost. That's good business, and I support that person.
And your last question, how would you best address constituent complaints such as public noise, trash dumping, illegal firework displays, pet hoarding, and pet dumping? Those are just some examples.
Well, it would be my duty to listen to all complaints. If it's something that the sheriff's office directly is responsible for, then of course we would have to find a way to help in whatever capacity we could, being power-wise. Some of those may be picking up the phone and using the bully pulpit, so to speak, my influence as sheriff to try to get another agency, or maybe if it's in the city or somewhere, some other agency or form of response to help you. Those are a lot of things that seem to irritate people, and they're real problems, and I wouldn't want to minimize them. But it would take some collective effort between we and the citizens to try to come up with a solution. Now, something I did when I was in charge of the Special Assignment Unit, Beaumont PD, that's a unit I built up from the ground up and customized that. And sometimes if we didn't have the manpower to do something along those lines, we would put up a game camera. You know, like say some people dumping things at the end of the street. And what we do is we set it up in a way to where we can capture the license plate of the suspect and possibly get some evidence to follow up on. And those are easy ways that don't really involve manpower, but we can gather the evidence we need to possibly follow up and develop a case on your behalf. These are real things, they're quality of life issues to you, and I understand that. So it would just be a dialogue between me and you and try to find a solution, get creative, like such as the game cams and things of that nature. Because obviously you can't sit deputy at the dead end of every road, you know, and wait for dumpers.
Thank you, Mr. Skinner. You now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for coming out. It means a lot to me that you're here. I understand it's a lot of your valuable time. Thank you for hosting. I am unique in a lot of ways. You'll learn that if you haven't already. I'm motivated by some oddball introspection. This is not something that I'm just trying to do because it betters my life or anything of that nature. Some people say it's a midlife crisis. I say it's a midlife inspiration. My daughters are out of the house, and I have the empty nest. I've had some other things happen in my life that change how I look at life, and it's basically what can I offer here where I live. I've really enjoyed living in Hardin County, and I want to give back, and I'm hoping to give you that opportunity. The aspects of my qualifications, if you'll take time to look, I know you have limited time tonight, and that's in every forum. So if you find me on Facebook, you can find a lot of different things listed, as well as a number of videos we put out trying to give you a grasp of who I am and how I feel. And these are impromptu interviews. They're being videoed, and I don't know what the guy's asking. So, you know, give you a kind of a glimpse, similar tonight, of how I'm going to respond to some of the questions of your interest. So I encourage you to go on Facebook and look at those videos. Some of them are lengthy, 10, 12 minutes, but it'd be worth your time to get to know me. And my heart is in the right place here, and I want you to understand that. It's probably blood for punishment, to be honest with you. But I really feel like I'm led to do this for you, and I can be sure if you'll take time when you get to the ballot box and you'll click my name, that's number 3 on the ballot, you will not regret it. I will be of great service to you, and I will bring some intangibles that perhaps Hardin County has not known. And I'm very unique, and I think you will learn to really enjoy working with me.